guys, it's Julie Spencer, author of the Buxton Peak series. Today we are working our way through Buxton Peak The Early Years. This is a prequel to my Buxton Peak trilogy. And I hope that if you're liking these videos that you will give them a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and share them on social media so that others can enjoy these videos as well. Okay. Buxton Peak The Early Years, Chapter 4, Beyond the Gymnasium. Ian's powerful vocals echoed in the guys' locker room. He closed his eyes and let the words call forth from deep inside as he felt the notes of Aerosmith's hit ballad, Angel. The school building was mostly empty this early in the day, and Ian frequently took advantage of the amazing acoustics of the shower to practice singing. "I cannot believe you hit that note," Kai said. Ian flipped around to see Kai leaning against the wall of the shower. The large, cavernous space carried his quiet comment as if he'd shouted. "You startled me," Ian gasped as his heart raced. "Sorry." Kai looked around at the shower heads and moist walls. "Do you practice in here often?" "Well, nobody's here before school, and my mom drops me off as early as I want. Sometimes I'm the second or third person in the building. Why not just go into the sound booth and put on a pair of headphones?" "This is more fun." Ian couldn't hold his grin any longer. "I don't think I've ever stood in the shower fully clothed." Kai turned slowly once as if taking in the space for the first time. "This would be a lot more awkward if we weren't." "Yeah, you're right." Kai faced Ian. "You know, even Steven Tyler needs backup." "You don't have a guitar with you." "Neither do you." Kai shrugged. He narrowed his eyes and pointed at Ian. "Don't take this the wrong way. You know I like girls." "I like girls too." Ian held up his hands in surrender. "This is just so we can learn the song. Are you ready?" Ian and Kai nodded, and with their breaths in sync and their voices filled with power, they continued the iconic love song by Aerosmith. Ian put his whole body into the words. Kai's harmony paired with Ian's vocals flawlessly, creating magic. They kept time by clapping their hands in perfect rhythm during the pauses. When they came to Joe Perry's guitar solo, they played air guitars and hummed along as if they heard the notes live in concert. They harmonized for the remainder of the song. Ian hit all the high notes, and the sound was near perfect in the echoing space. The song wound down into rhythmic chanting, and when the song ended, they took a deep breath and held each other's eyes. Ian almost wanted to hug Kai, but he knew that was the last thing he should be doing while standing in a guy's locker room shower with his best friend after singing a rock ballad together. Instead, he punched the air and cried, "That was such a rush!" "I think you're an adrenaline junkie," Kai said, shaking his head. "We gotta bring Gary and Andy next time." Ian put his arm around Kai's shoulder and they walked out of the shower room. They stopped short when they came face to face with an audience. Ian counted about 24 people standing in the gymnasium, wide-eyed, some with mouths gaping. There were even a few teachers. Ian chuckled and pulled his arm off Kai's shoulder. Ian's new girlfriend, Janie, was the first person brave enough to step forward. She slipped her hand into his and batted her eyelashes. "That was so beautiful." "Thank you." Ian squeezed her hand gently and chuckled, looking around at some of the other faces. His gaze rested on the physical education teacher and he cringed. "Sorry for disturbing the peace." The teacher shrugged and shook his head slowly. "Maybe tomorrow morning I'll charge admission to get into the gymnasium." "Very funny." Ian draped his arm across Janie's back and held her waist as they headed to class. Her red curls were pulled into a ponytail and her pouty lips seemed to speak to him without using words. Ian was tempted to lean down and kiss them, but reminded himself they were at school. "What am I thinking? I'm too young to be kissing girls." He forced himself to concentrate on walking. "I'll give you my address where you can send the royalty checks," Kai told the PE teacher. People around them chuckled and several girls sidled up close to Kai. He wrapped his arms around 2 different girls' shoulders and smirked as if he was the tough man on campus. Ian matched Kai's smile, raising his eyebrows suggestively, and then winked down at Janie. "This is getting kind of fun," he thought. "Are you guys ready?" Jeremy asked. The instruments were set up on the stage at one end of the gym. "This is it. If all goes well, we're going to set up a small venue in Manchester. And if that goes well, I'll arrange a quick interview with a local radio station. If you don't think you're ready..." We're ready, Ian said. We've been working on these songs for almost a year. Plus, it's just a high school dance. Those are our peers out there. They won't boo us even if we're terrible. Which we won't be. Gary twirled a drumstick in his right hand but kept his usual stoic expression. Ian wished he had a set of sticks to keep his hands busy while they waited. Those are our girlfriends out there, Kai said, peeking through the curtain. They love us no matter what. Which one is your girlfriend? Jeremy sidled up next to Kai. Point to her. It would be easier to point out which ones are not Kai's girlfriend, Andy said. Yeah, half the girls in the school think they're Kai's girlfriend, Gary teased. What can I say? I like girls. Kai shrugged unapologetically. But Cherie's my favorite. He pointed to the pretty blonde in the front row. Janie's my girl, the one with the red hair. Ian pointed to the girl giggling next to Cherie. I'll just have whoever's left at the end of the night, Andy said. I'm not picky. That's disgusting, Ian said, turning back toward his friend. I hope you're joking. Kinda, Andy shrugged. You guys need to be careful. Jeremy pulled the curtain shut. I promised your parents I'd keep you out of trouble. Don't make me have to call them. Whoa, dude, don't go there, Gary said, holding up his hands in resignation. My mom would flip a lid if she knew I was even looking at girls. Don't give me a reason to, then. Jeremy looked sternly at the boys, but only Ian held his head high. The other three shuffled their feet and stuck hands in pockets, taking a sudden interest in the pattern on the floor. Come on, guys, Ian said. It's almost time to go on stage. Let's just focus on the music. Let's rock, Kai said. Let's rock, the other three echoed. They didn't have to wait long. Within minutes, the PE teacher, who was acting as master of ceremonies for the school dance, introduced Buxton Peak to the school, and the guys hurried onto the stage as the girls screamed their approval. So, what is your inspiration for the songs you write? The radio DJ asked. Ian didn't hesitate. He felt no nervousness, even though this was his first live radio interview. Well, I write songs that draw from a variety of influences. From the heavy guitar and drum solos to the strong lead vocals, my songs just call to people. Ian spoke clearly into the microphone. It was just like wearing headphones in the recording studio. He just pretended that the only people listening were those in the sound booth, usually Jeremy and Mr. Hayworth. How old are you, son? The DJ put his hands on the counter and pushed himself back in his rolling chair. We're all 16, Ian gestured to the other guys. You seem much older than that. The DJ's compliment hung in the air. Could you phone our head teacher and tell him you think so? Ian asked. He keeps sending us to detention for skipping class and hanging out in the band room. It was true. They'd all grown in the past year since they started Buxton Peak, both physically and emotionally. But they were still just teenage boys. How else are you going to practice, right? The DJ feigned innocence. Exactly. See, you understand. Ian chuckled along with the radio host. Do you write all the music together? He asked. Nah, it's pretty much all Ian, Kai finally chimed in. He's our musical prodigy. Prodigy, huh? The DJ raised an eyebrow. How long have you been playing music? All my life, Ian said. Any instrument I can get my hands on. What instruments do you play? Pretty much all of them. That's impressive, the DJ said. Thanks. Ian's face flushed with heat. Even though Ian latched on to the confidence of his leadership role and took the band seriously, he was still humbled by his musical gift. Songwriting helps me express my thoughts, and then I add in some words and invite the rest of the world into my world. You really got the world's attention when that YouTube video of your high school performance went viral. How has that changed things for you? Yeah, the one video got like 10,000 views in the first 3 days, Kai said. Suddenly we were a little bit famous. Other bands were calling us, Andy said. We got to open for a lot of cool groups. And now you're headliners, the DJ added. That's what they tell us. Ian couldn't keep the grin off his face. So you're releasing your first CD, and tickets go on sale for your first stadium performance today, correct? That is correct, Ian said. We hope everyone likes our first single, and that you play it lots of times here on your station. "Let's get to that right now," the DJ said. "It is my pleasure to introduce Buxton Peak's first single, Cavendish Fire." Ian sat back in his chair with a grin, pulled off his headphones, and shook the DJ's hand. The gleam in his mate's eyes were reflecting his own. Let's rock. Okay, that's the end of the chapter. I hope that if you're liking these videos that you will give it a thumbs up and like it and subscribe to my channel and share these YouTube videos on social media so that lots of people can enjoy them. I'll see you for the next chapter.